Welcome back to the Code of Ethics, the Realtor's pathway to professionalism. Today we'll look at the structure of the Code of Ethics, and then we'll look at the preamble. The Code of Ethics is made up of the preamble, 17 articles, 70-plus standards of practice, and over 130 case interpretations. Let's talk first about the 17 articles, since they are the backbone of the Code. The articles establish, generally in just a sentence or two, at most in a short paragraph, the fundamental duties and obligations of every realtor. Put another way, in a concise, objective way, the articles spell out exactly what is expected of us, what we must do or not do to protect and promote the interests of our clients and customers and others who turn to realtors for professional services. The articles themselves, and the Code overall, is not self-serving. Instead, the basis for our duties, which are generally higher than the duties imposed by law or regulation, is consumer protection and a competitive real estate marketplace. These are the same principles that guided the founders when they wrote and adopted the first Code in 1913. As we move through our program, we will look at each of the articles, acquainting you, or hopefully reacquainting you, with the fundamental ethical principles. As mentioned in the first segment, the Code undergoes continuing review and scrutiny to ensure it remains relevant in our ever-changing real estate environment. That said, the articles are not changed, or to put it more formally, amended, hastily or without careful, thoughtful deliberation. Proposed changes are frequently suggested by informed, concerned realtors. But that's just the starting point. After careful deliberation, debate, and wordsmithing by the Professional Standards Committee, proposed changes to the Code go next to the National Association's Board of Directors. After the Board of Directors acts, the next and final step is review and action by the National Association's delegate body, the deliberative group composed of the president of each local and state association of realtors. Even here, the road for proposed changes isn't easy, since to be adopted, an amendment to any of the articles or to the preamble requires a 2/3 affirmative vote. Changing the Code isn't simple or easy, but the Code changes more often than you might think. While the articles establish fundamental, foundational ethical duties, it is difficult to explain precisely, accurately, or definitively exactly what is expected of highly ethical, highly efficacious real estate practitioners in every conceivable circumstance in just 17 short paragraphs. For that reason, over the past 3 decades, the Realtor family has explained, illustrated, and amplified the 17 articles through a series of companion standards of practice. While the 17 articles are broad in concept and focus, the standards of practice are generally more narrowly focused, explaining some aspect of the article they are tied to. It's important to understand that realtors can only be found in violation of an article of the Code, but standards of practice can, and frequently are, cited in support of an article. For example, an ethics hearing panel might conclude Realtor B violated Article 1 as Article 1 is interpreted by Standard of Practice 1-1. Changes to, or creation of new standards of practice is a bit easier than changes to the articles. The NAR Board of Directors has final authority in approving the standards of practice. But even the standards of practice can express complex ideas, and it may not always be crystal clear how they apply to everyday practice. For that reason, official case interpretations are published by the NAR Professional Standards Committee to help realtors understand exactly what's expected of them in every circumstance. The case interpretations lay out a fact pattern in narrative style, and then apply an article of the Code, and often the appropriate standard of practice, to demonstrate exactly what conduct is expected of realtors under the circumstances. Just like the standards of practice, realtors cannot be found in violation of a case interpretation but the case interpretations can, and often are, cited in support of an article. For example, an ethics hearing panel might decide Realtor B violated Article 1 as Article 1 is interpreted by Case Interpretation 1-15. The final thing we need to be aware of is that the articles of the code are categorized, simply for ease of learning and application, into duties to clients and customers, duties to the public, and duties to realtors. These categories are simply devices that help realtors and, more importantly, realtors' clients and customers and the general public locate specific information. We'll see that many of the articles are broad in focus and broad in their application and could fit in more than one category. So, as you study the code, don't think that the duties owed, say, under Article 1 protect only clients and customers. These categories simply make the code user-friendly. In the next segment, we'll get into the preamble. But before we do, you'll want to read or reread the words that define the ultimate professional aspirations of realtors. Reflect on the preamble's opening words. Under all is the land. Upon its wise utilization and widely allocated ownership depend the survival and growth of free institutions and of our civilization. You'll agree these words, penned nearly a century ago, are as critical and as visionary today as they were in 1913. Also consider the Golden Rule, a staple of virtually every religion and every society. As you read the code, consider how much of the code and how much of the overarching concept of professionalism, not only in real estate, but in every endeavor, is based in the simple wisdom of the Golden Rule. Ask, does the Golden Rule guide me each day in my dealings with clients, with customers, with other real estate professionals? If not, why not? And never forget that the code is your pathway to professionalism.